Amy, and I'm here. It is on the 11th of January, which means that the hashtag TBRTakedown 3.0 readathon is officially over, and let's talk about how well I did on this readathon, shall we? I wouldn't say that I definitely didn't hit it out of the park, but I didn't strike out either, so it was successful, but not as successful as I was hoping or thought it could be, whatever. So we'll just get started. We'll start with the first book that I didn't even open. I didn't even read one page of it, and that is Eliza, Lamora by Scott Lynch. I really wanted to read this book, but I wanted to finish another book that I had already started before I started this one, and then just time kind of ran out. So I definitely want to read this book this year. It's going to happen. I know it will happen. It's going to happen. Yes. Someday I will read this book. So, okay, and then the next book that we're going to talk about that was pretty much a fail, and that is Beyond the Threshold by Linda Lael Miller, the first book in this duology being There and Now. And I started this book before the readathon, and I just added it to the readathon, and so I think I read like around 40 more pages in this book, and even though I liked it, the writing was just a little, it wasn't the greatest writing, and I can get through not the best writing if the premise of the story is good, if the actual story itself, the plot is decent, or the characters are, well developed or something, but I don't know, like the romance in the story, there was no build-up, there was no tension, there was no longing, it happened. It was 1 minute, these two people are strangers, and the next minute, he's kissing her, and it's like, wait, what just happened? What? And then no build-up, no tension, and it just seemed very forced and weird, and so the premise of a time-traveling romance just didn't hold me long enough to continue reading it. I may actually pick this up again at some point when I don't have other things that I really, really want to read, because, again, like, the story itself is interesting enough that I'm like, I kind of want to know what's going to happen, but this week I just didn't want to know enough. So I put that one down, and I actually picked up another book, and that is The Martian by Andy Weir. I have been wanting to read this book for a very long time, and I got it for Christmas, and I am like 230 pages into it, and I absolutely love it. It is so good. You probably already know what this book is about, but if you don't, it's about this guy Mark who was on a mission with a crew of 6 people to Mars, and something happens and he is left stranded on Mars, and it's about him trying to survive, and it's absolutely fantastic. Some of the science, I do admit, kind of goes over my head, but I'm amazed that I grasp enough of it that it's just really interesting, and the character, Mark, he's very witty and just hilarious. Like, some of the things that he says are just so funny, and I'm so enjoying this book. I stayed up really late last night. I wanted to continue to read, but I'm like, I have to stop reading, and it's just so good. I think the thing that I love the most about it is growing up, this was my dream, was to be an astronaut and to be one of the first people on Mars, and so it's kind of like living vicariously through a character in a book. So it's really enjoyable. Highly recommend it if you have not read it. Yeah, so that is The Martian, and I haven't finished it yet, and so it'll be on a wrap-up later of how I thought, more thoughts on this book. Okay, and then the next book that I started, but I did not finish, and that is The Guide to Literary Agents of 2016. I got about 50 pages into it, so even though I didn't finish it, I got a lot of good information, and I would say that if you are an aspiring writer and you are in the process of needing an agent, I highly recommend this book. It's really interesting. Like, the beginning part of it has different, like, helpful articles and things that kind of prepare you before you actually start querying agents, and it's just really interesting. I love getting all the information that I can from people that have done it, people in the business, because I'm not, and not yet, and I will take any advice that I can get. So I am very proud of myself. I'm so glad that I put this on my TBR for this readathon because it motivated me more than I think I would have if I wouldn't have put it on my TBR list, because I need to get this stuff done, but sometimes it's just not as motivating to read this than fiction. So, okay, and then the last book that was on my list, this was a book that I actually finished, and that is 10,000 Skies Above You by Claudia Gray. This is the second book in the Firebird trilogy. I think it's going to be a trilogy, and oh my goodness. Wow. I love that she did a lot more world building in this book, and she did a lot more explanation of how the technology works, because I think that was lacking a little bit in the first book. The first book was fantastic and I absolutely loved it. It was a 5-star, but this one definitely brought you more into the world, brought you more into the science of it. I do have to say the thing that I really appreciated in the last book with romance was the lack of a love triangle. And I don't want to really spoil anything, but I hate love triangles. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I think they can be done well, but I feel like they're way overused, and it really was a part of the story that kind of drove it. And so because of that, that really was the only reason why I did not get a 5-star. I think I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So not a huge deduction, but it did keep me out of the story enough that it just annoyed me. So, but other than that, like, I think it's an amazing story. I love this series. I really enjoy Claudia Gray's writing, so yes. Okay, so those are books that I did for the TBR Takedown. So I finished one book out of the 4 that were originally on my list. I read, let's see, I'm going to do my pages because I feel like I read quite a few pages, I just didn't finish a lot. So this book is 426 pages. I read probably about 200 of these pages before midnight came, so that's 630 pages. Then 50 of this, that's 680 pages. 40, so 720, so 720 pages, roughly, maybe a little bit more than that. So not the greatest reading week, but honestly, I feel like because it's the first week coming back off of vacation, first week after Christmas, it just was, not the first week after Christmas, but first week after Christmas vacation, I think I did really well of getting back into the groove of things. So yeah. Okay, and then with the challenges, okay, things kind of got a little mixed up. So challenges, let's see how many challenges I got. Okay, book from your most recent book haul. I will add this one. This was from Christmas. There we go. That's one. Book on TBR shelf for over a year. Well, that didn't happen because I didn't start this one. It's the only book that was been on my TBR shelf for a year, so 1 and 1. Book outside your comfort zone. I definitely would say that The Martian is definitely way into sci-fi more than I ever would have imagined picking up, but I've really enjoyed it. So 2 and 1. And then first book in a series. Let's see. First book in a series. I know I had something. Maybe I didn't. Well, standalone. This is a standalone. So there we go. That was, it was said we could use that. Woohoo! Okay, so 3 for 1. Complete a series or read a sequel. Reading a sequel. So 4 for 1. Read a fire color book. Well, look at that. That's both of those. So 5 for 1, and then read a non-novel item, and boom. So 6 for 1. I didn't finish all of those books for the challenges, but I did start all of them except for the book that was on your TBR shelf for over a year. Okay guys, well I hope you had an amazing week. It was a great readathon. If you have not checked out Shannon from Leaning Lights channel, please go do it because she is fantastic, amazing. And let me know how you guys did. If you have a wrap-up video, please put a link down below so I can go watch it. And I will see you guys on the flip side.